Hey y'all, I'm Elisa.
And I'm Samantha.
And welcome to Watch for Deer. So you guys are going to probably hear some dogs in the background because we are recording from the new studio to be. Mm-hmm. We're only doing audio because we're sitting in camp chairs, baseball chairs right now.
Listen, we are janky.
Yeah, we're
right
a little,
now.
It's a work in progress. We've got a space now. We have nowhere to put these dogs, so because my fence is not built, so they're all up in our business. So if you hear animals, sorry. Yeah. It is what it is.
That heavy breathing in the background, we
That's
do not
Lucy.
have anybody tied up or anything like that. We've not kidnapped anybody. It's the dogs.
It's just Lucy. She's my chocolate lab, and she likes to be up my butt.
But even if the dog noises get on your nerves, you have got to stay for this story because it is a crazy one. It's crazy. And I'm excited about it.
I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah. So we're not drinking wine today. And I tell you, I'm on a health kick. Like I'm on a health journey. So I've not had a whole lot of wine here lately.
I had vodka Saturday night, vodka Red Bull.
Well, I mean.
But I've not had wine it's been a minute.
Not that I'm not going to have wine, but, I'm on a journey. I'm on a journey.
Just go to sleep.
So, quit talking about that.
I'm like, just go to sleep, Luce.
So, I am going to tell you the story today of, let's just get into it. I just want to jump right into it because it's actually it's a pretty long story. So, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
Stop pushing the dog's head down. Just let her do her thing. We ready?
I'm ready.
Many people that work with children ask themselves this question. What tends to win, nature or nurture? Ask yourself that. Is a child born with a predisposition to evil? If not, when does it happen? Is it because of neglect, abuse, their economic status? We know some kids grow up with the best parents, and in adulthood, they still turn out to be criminals. We all know kids that are now adults that had a terrible childhood, but they overcame the odds. So when does it happen? At what age should we start being afraid of someone? 15? 17? 18? There was a teacher a few years back that was shot by her student. He was 5 years old. She was his kindergarten teacher. Maybe we will never know the answer to these questions, but I do know one thing. Most of the stories we do, the people in them had horrific abusive upbringings, and this story is no different. This is the story of Christa Pike, the youngest woman in U.S. history to be sentenced to death.
Ooh, I've not heard of her, I don't think.
So what I want to really talk about in this story is not so much if she did it, because she absolutely did it. But at what point is the death penalty... What's the word I'm looking for? Is it
too harsh or...
I don't know. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but let's just keep on going.
Okay.
During this, I want you all to please note that I have been in contact with Christa's best friend at the time of the murder, and she agreed to answer questions for me the best she can. Anything in this story that is from her, I will quote and give credit for. I would like to personally thank Kim, and her name it's a different... name for me, so I'm not for sure. I think it's Iloilo. I think that's how but I'm just going to refer to her as Kim.
Okay.
I want to personally thank you, Kim, for speaking with me and us going back and forth and you talking about it, because I know that could not have been easy for you at all. So just thank you for that.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Christa was born and raised in Beckley, West Virginia to Carissa Hansen and Emil Pike. Court documents state that her mother drank the whole time she was pregnant with Christa. This caused brain damage in the frontal lobe. Her brain damage was so severe that at the time of the trial, it was visible on the MRI scan. Carissa was no stranger to mental issues herself. She drank heavily, attempted suicide when Christa was 3, and inflicted emotional abuse on Christa. Her parents had a terrible relationship, and they went back and forth with divorcing and marrying again. Carissa eventually occupying herself with how she looked and her 4th boyfriend. It is stated in court documents that Carissa would be left with whatever was left after her mother. No, that shouldn't have been Carissa. It is stated in court documents that Christa would be left with whatever was left after her mother drank and spent it all. One of her aunts, according to Wikipedia, had been quoted saying that Christa would crawl around the house through piles of dog feces. As a young child, Christa is reported to suffer from seizures, but that didn't stop her mother, Carissa, from drinking. Christa's grandma would often step in and help care for the child. When she was in the 3rd grade, she attempted to take her own life by swallowing a bottle of acetaminophen. Ugh. She was given mental support after this and eventually attempted to take her own life again. This time, she would not receive any help. Christa grew up stating that she was being abused, sexually assaulted, and at one point, she was accused of sexually assaulting her younger sister. Now, I read that. I don't know how true that is, but it is said that she even tried to assault her younger sister.
So it's common for kids to tell someone that they're being sexually abused, and nobody believes them.
Sure.
Especially in cases of divorce, or, you've got this boyfriend coming in, or like, oh, you just don't like them, or whatever. So, I mean, that's sad.
Yeah, always believe them. Always
have it checked out, and if it was a lie, then that's when we need to teach our kids that it's really bad to lie.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it is a lie, then I think something more of that should happen, because you can ruin somebody's reputation
by false accusations, for sure.
But her mother, Carissa, said that Christa was a pathological liar and didn't believe most of anything that she said. She and some friends allegedly beat a man in a parking lot for threatening to rape her mother. Carissa's 4th husband didn't like children and would regularly whip Christa with a leather strap attached to a wooden handle. Christa was eventually sent away because her 4th husband didn't like children, but not before the severe abuse that he would inflict on her. For example, one of the many boyfriends that Carissa had, Steve, and this is another strange last name, K-Y-A-W, so Kai, I don't know how to say that, would beat Christa with a belt, and sometimes he would wake her up in the middle of the night just to beat her.
Good Lord.
Other times, he would twist her nipples and wrestle with her while filling her up.
Oh, my God.
At one point, he punched Christa in the nose, and CPS was called. After this, he was not allowed to be alone with her anymore. Many of the family members that Christa would try to find refuge with was unsuccessful. Christa's back is covered in scars from the beatings her father would give her 5 to 6 times a day. Other than the beatings, Glenn Pike was absent. Her grandmother hated watching her because she couldn't drink as much as she wanted to.
Oh, good gravy.
And her grandfather would force Christa to watch him butcher and skin animals, even the ones she claimed as pets and that she named and loved.
So that poor kid didn't have a chance.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you really need to think about what that has done to her.
She has zero. I mean, she's been beaten and abused and sexually abused all her life.
Her whole life. Her mother inflicted brain damage on her even before because she was drinking.
Yeah.
With her. So she was already
in the womb.
Yeah, she was being abused in the womb. So many of the facts about where Christa went to school and stuff like that, I couldn't find. So what it is that whenever, you have an underage kid that is sent to juvenile detention, which she was, all of this stuff is documented, but it's confidential because you're under the age of 18.
You're protecting the child.
So you can't really find any of that stuff. You can find that she did go to school. She did go, she lived in Beckley, West Virginia. She did go to a juvenile detention center, but it's not going to tell you where.
And details on it, yeah.
And there's actually not a whole lot of documentaries on her. I actually found one. It was like a 20-minute documentary after I started writing this. So a few 20-minute episodes about what she did as an 18-year-old, but not much more than that.
Yeah.
So when I talked to her former friend, Kim, who was 16 at the time, if Christa had ever spoke about growing up in Beckley, she stated, honestly, she never mentioned it that I could recall. And if she did, it's been a long time ago and I don't remember. I don't mean this to sound weird, but trivial things like that I can't recall right away, but important stuff is burned in the tissue of my brain.
Well, of course, we don't think about, there's so many memories that I have growing up, and there's certain memories, and then you'll hear, like, your parents talk about, oh, remember that time, and you're like, what? Like, that you just don't remember.
Well, and Kim didn't grow up here. Kim met her later on, and I'll talk about that, but that's because I, had asked, hey, did she ever talk about Beckley, her family, and all this stuff? And she said, no, not really. And if she did, she doesn't really remember it.
Yeah.
So, Christa Pike grew up in the 80s in Beckley. Someone listening may know her, be related to her, or still in contact with her. If this is you and you would like to clear some things up, we would love to have you on the show.
Absolutely.
Even if you would like to do an anonymous, mention or whatever.
Conversation.
We would love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
So, Christa never graduated from high school. Instead, she was in a juvenile detention center. She decided that maybe the Job Corps was right for her. The Job Corps is a government program for people between the ages of 16 and 24. The mission of the Job Corps is to help young people improve the quality of their lives through vocational and academic training to help them get on a career path.
Okay.
So, Christa decided that this is where she should be. Christa started at the Job Corps in Knoxville, Tennessee in 1994. This is where she met her boyfriend, Tadryl Ship. And I think I'm saying that right. It's TadarYl. I'm going to say Tadryl. Okay? The students at the Job Corps didn't know the vile human that had just entered their establishment. She spoke with a soft, almost childlike voice. She was very small, had a lot of fluffy red hair. She just didn't look like the type of young adult that was going to commit such a violent, evil crime. I asked her best friend at the time, Kim, if there was ever times that she got an off feeling from her, creeped out, scared, thought she could be dangerous, and this is what Kim said to me. Honest to goodness, it may be naive, but honestly, before all this took place, she was the best friend you could ask for. We were paid $28 a week, which did not last long. So if I ran out of cigarettes, which she's so glad she doesn't smoke anymore, if Christa had two, she'd give me one. When I had the flu, she went to Walgreens and got a get well card and some candy for me.
Aww.
When I was homesick, she would sit with me, put her arms around my shoulders, and say silly stuff to make me laugh.
But I wonder I know.
Hold on, I got to finish.
Okay.
Any of the things that people read about her don't know that side of her, the side that I dearly loved. She was never scary or creepy. She did get really obnoxious when her and Tadryl were fighting, but only towards him. Honestly, the girl that committed the crime was the polar opposite of the Christa I knew. She was my best friend, and I loved her, and I knew she loved me too. It sounds impossible even after I sit here saying it, but it's very true. It hurt me to testify against her, but it was the right thing to do.
Oh, wow, she testified against her.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, you don't know what
you
don't know what she did.
I mean, I'm wondering maybe if Christa, when she met Kim, that maybe she just had a vibe and she was just so hungry for that closeness and that relationship that she was just able to.
Well, there's some stuff on here, so hold on a second, because there's some more stuff, and there's some stuff that Kim says that let's see if maybe there's some diagnosis here, how we separate ourselves. Let's just keep going.
Okay, yep.
In Kim's interview for the show, The World's Most Evil Prisoners. Okay, so Kim was on the show, The World's Most Evil Prisoners.
Okay.
Talking about this. That's how I found her.
Off the show.
Well, she has such an unusual last name.
Okay.
I thought, well, there can't be many Kim Iloilos, if I'm even saying that right, out there. So that's how I found her, and I reached out, and she was like, absolutely. Let's
awesome.
talk. So,
well, that's cool. That's a good idea.
So, in Kim's interview for the show, The World's Most Evil Prisoners, Season 1, Episode 4, I watched it on Amazon. It's like maybe 30 minutes long. She stated that they depended on each other and they were inseparable. She states that the whimsical ball of fire that she was calling her best friend could do something so evil and so heinous that there's no coming back from that. You don't come back from that kind of thing.
Yeah.
According to H2H podcast, Todrell and Chris's relationship was very intense and seriously volatile. They had similar beliefs and started dabbling in the occult.
No.
Christa was obsessed with Todrell, and her jealousy was only intensified by their devil worship and dark rituals.
Oh, that's fun.
On page 15 and 16, under the fifth heading titled, Christa Pike suffers from severe mental illness, which began during her childhood in the case of the state of Tennessee versus Christa Gale Pike. Very intense attachments, Dr. Kenner testified, can occur in people who missed out on early parenting experiences. Mm-hmm. On page 16 of the legal document, it is stated that Christa's relationship with her co-defendant, in this case, Todrell Shipp, fit the same pattern. Christa met Todrell at the Job Corps, where other participants created a dangerous environment. She considered Todrell her protector and the first person to care about her well-being since her grandmother's death, and she, therefore, obsessed about pleasing him. Car troubles got you down? Sanders Tire and Auto Repair has got you covered. Engine repair, transmissions, alignments, diagnostics, suspension fixes, welding, wheel straightening, these folks do it all. And fast. No upsells, just honest work backed by a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty. Feels like having a pit crew in your own backyard. Thousands of happy customers can't be wrong.
Swing by Sanders Tire and Auto Repair in Lavallette, West Virginia, where your ride gets the royal treatment and you get peace of mind. Now offering road hazard on your new tire purchase to help protect your investment. Check them out now or give them a call at 304-528-9800 to schedule your appointment.
Elisa, what was that number again? I was driving my car the other day and it was acting a little wonky. I don't know how to describe it.
It's 304-528-9800. Give them a call.
Awesome. I'll call Mick and Aletha. Thanks. Even though he was a violent gang member who physically abused her, the court must consider the fact that Christa's relationship with Todrell was an important factor in her involvement in this crime. That relationship can only be adequately understood in the context of Christa's severe mental illness, not millness. Millness. I'm just blurring everything together.
Got the millness.
So I understand, too, that I'm talking to you about her mental illness and everything that's going on in her family and her relationship and everything, and I've not told you what she's done yet. I'm totally aware of this, but I just want you to grasp her mental state before we get into the horrific crime that she did.
Okay.
Page 15 states that abused, neglected, and severely mental ill, Christa was vulnerable to bad influences and exercising poor judgment. For Christa Pike, that poor executive functioning was worsened by organic brain damage. I wasn't sure what organic brain damage meant, so I Googled it. Organic brain damage, often referred to as organic brain syndrome or OBS, or organic mental disorders, refers to decreased mental function caused by physical, physiological, or structural damage to the brain, rather than purely functional or psychiatric causes. It causes cognitive, behavioral, and emotional dysfunction, including symptoms like memory loss, confusion, and personality changes. Colleen Slemmer. What? You
Nothing.
shook your head.
No.
Oh, okay. You shook your head. I was like, what?
No, I'm just absorbing it.
Okay. So I'm going to go back and read that back sentence. It includes symptoms like memory loss, confusion, and personality changes.
Okay.
Colleen Slemmer would receive the brunt of Christa's obsessive delusions and mental disorders. Colleen Slemmer was a 19-year-old beauty. She was also living on campus, and something about this young woman rubbed Christa the wrong way. Maybe it was her beauty. Maybe it was her delusions of Colleen secretly trying to get Todrell. Christa was becoming increasingly paranoid, and she started to think of ways to eliminate Colleen Slemmer.
Ew.
I also want to say that I asked Kim, and I'm going to pull it up on my phone because this is after I had read this, but I had asked Kim if she knew Colleen, and this is what she had to say. So let me pull it up here because I did not get to put it in my phone. So I had wrote, "Hey Kim, I'm finishing up the story and wanted to make sure you didn't want to say anything for me to add, or if there was a question you didn't answer that you'd like to. Hope all is well." So, and I had asked her, this is before, to what extent did Christa and Colleen know each other, and can you tell me your thoughts on Colleen? Was she a sweet girl? Kim says, "We had different class schedules for the most part, so how well they knew each other, I honestly can't say. Colleen was quiet, friendly, from what I knew of her. She was shy, not extremely outgoing, but always friendly. I think I had borrowed a pen from her a few times, and we talked about a book I was reading once, but that was about the extent of our interactions. We always said hello in passing, or, what have you." So, there's not a ton of information on Colleen out there, too, which I actually hate because when you're doing stories like this, it really focuses on the perpetrator and not, the victim.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to really tell you some more stories about Colleen. It's just not out there. They're just not, if they are out there, I couldn't find them.
Yeah.
Okay. So on January 12th, 1995, Colleen went with Todrell, Christa, and Christa's friend Shadola Peterson. There's 3 of them. So Christa, Todrell, and Shadola. Christa's 18, Todrell's 17, and Shadola is, I want to say 17, but I also read somewhere she's 19. Okay. Because
Upper
they
teens.
had promised Colleen that they were going to go smoke weed. Christa had a meat cleaver and a box cutter with her.
Oh, so this was premeditated.
Yes.
She knew what she was
She
gonna
was
do.
absolutely knew what she was going to do. Also, I had read, too, that one of Christa's things was that whenever she met Todrell, that she did not like Colleen because Colleen and Todrell were friends.
Okay.
So, and that kind of, she didn't like that. She felt, I believe
she was threatened.
I believe she felt that she was threatening that she was going to take her protector away from her.
Yeah.
So Christa had a meat cleaver and a box cutter with her. She had come armed. They walked to the edge of the University of Tennessee. Christa confronts Colleen about wanting Todrell. It quickly turns violent. Colleen was beaten. Now remember, Todrell's there and so is Shadola, that Peterson girl.
Yeah.
Colleen was beaten. I read that she was stabbed over 300 times by
300?
Christa. She was tortured for 45 minutes. Colleen's mother stated in an episode for the previous mentioned series that Christa held Colleen down and Todrell carved a pentagram in her chest. Now, this is Todrell's supposed friend he's doing this to. This is Christa's friend. They carved a pentagram in her chest. She said it was part of a satanic ritual. In Christa's own words, she said the bitch wouldn't die, and she picked up a piece of asphalt and started smashing her in the head.
Oh, my God. That's violent as hell.
Once Colleen was dead, Christa grabbed a piece of Colleen's skull as a souvenir. So after the murder, the 3 Job Corps students signed back into their dorms. I did not ask Kim about this because there was no need for me to. So this is a quote from the interview that Kim did with the world's most evil prisoners. She busted my door, and that's when she unfolded this horrendous story. I just stood there in total shock. She said the bitch wouldn't die. I was like, what do you mean? I cut her throat 9 times. It sickened me and shocked me. I didn't know what to say. Christa then showed her best friend her trophy, the piece of Colleen's skull. She then told Kim, if you tell anyone, I'll kill you. Love you. See you in the morning. Colleen's body was found the next morning. Christa went to school bragging about what she had done. Police checked the logbooks and had seen that Christa, Todrell, and Shadola had returned without Colleen.
Mm.
They were all arrested within 36 hours of the murder. It was a little-known fact that Christa and Todrell were among a small group at the school that were Satan worshipers. Randy York, an investigator on the case, said he found a lot of satanic ritual items and literature in each of the students' bedrooms. They were deep into Satanism. When she confessed, she said that she was excited. She was almost giddy about what she had done. Mm-hmm. York said that she got in the floor and acted out the scenes of the crime, including Colleen begging for her life.
Oh, my gosh.
The 3 students were charged with murder. Now, before we get into the trial of Christa, I would like to state that according to WATE News Channel 6, Todrell, who was 17 at the time, was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 25 years. He was denied parole, and it will be reviewed again in 2030. Shadola Peterson, who was 19 at the time, was sentenced to probation after turning informant for the state's case against Pike. During the trial, Colleen's mother said that they were passing her skull around and the fragments of her skull were falling into the floor. She wasn't allowed to show emotion in the trial, or she would have been asked to leave. Christa was passing notes during the trial, smiling and acting if it wasn't a huge deal. However, it is said that when they were passing Colleen's skull around, she cried. Christa Gale Pike was sentenced to death, the youngest woman in U.S. history to be sentenced to death and the first woman in over 200 years to be put to death in the state of Tennessee. In prison, Christa also attempted to murder 2 more people in jail and dated a prison guard who planned on helping her break out of prison. Colleen Slemmer was brutally murdered by Christa Pike and her accomplices. Colleen was a young lady with a bright future. Watch for Dear podcast. Our heart goes out to her family, especially her mother. I really wanted to tell more about Colleen, like I said earlier, her likes, her dislikes, what her hobbies were, her friends, what was her dreams, and stuff like that. I wanted to remember the young woman for more than being Christa Pike's victim.
Yeah.
However, I've read and searched so much, I couldn't find anything.
Well, if there's somebody that listens, somebody that was related to the victim, they could always reach out to us and we can do
I would like
that
to.
would be awesome to have their side.
Yeah. In an interview with the First Coast News in 2015, Mae Martinez, Colleen's mother, says that she can't properly bury her daughter because she is missing the piece of Colleen's skull that Christa took as a trophy. It's being held onto as evidence. Mae says that the last thing she said to her daughter was, "I told you I'd call you right back. I'll call you back." Martina plays this over and over in her mind. As long as Christa is on death row, Colleen's skull is evidence. She won't get it back. She ain't going to get the skull back. So
God,
she can't bury it because her daughter's not whole.
That's awful.
Over the years, Martina states that she will randomly receive body parts from Tennessee, not telling her what it is or anything. She said 4 years after the murder, she came home with her daughter's skull on an airplane.
What?
She came home. She went and flew out there and came home with her daughter's skull on an airplane. She's going and getting body parts of her daughter.
Just pieces.
Yes.
They're releasing just pieces at a time.
Yes.
What the actual hell?
I don't know. My heart hurts for her.
Oh, my God.
As of right now, Christa Pike's execution date is set for September 30th this year.
2026?
Yes.
Mm.
Pike is the youngest woman to be sentenced to death and the first woman in over 200 years to be executed if it takes place. So, and I'd already said that. I originally did this story because she was born and raised in West Virginia. She's born and raised in Beckley. Her family, I'm sure, is still in Beckley. However, what has developed in it for me is a case for the death penalty, really. This is what, and on Watch for Deer, I'd ask, and I put, mental disorders and all this stuff. And do you think that someone that is this, her brain, I just want to make sure that you all understand. I am not taking up for Christa Pike at all. She killed Colleen. She brutally. She tried to kill 2 more people and break out of jail. My argument on this is, and I don't even know if it is an argument to say, but really for you to think about it. Do you think that she should be sentenced to death, or do you think she should be put in a mental institution for the rest of her life?
Well, here's the problem. In a case like this, she's already in a prison and she's trying to kill and hurt people. Someone like that, you can't rehab. You know what I mean? Like, you can't rehab somebody if they're already locked up and they're trying to commit these crimes in the prison system. Then your option is to put them to death or to send them to a mental institution, which I just listened to another podcast episode of, and I don't remember what it was, but I was listening to it on Morbid, and there was this girl, they had put her in a mental institution. Come to find it out, she bonded with one of the nurses. The nurses was going to leave and get married, and the girl was like, "You'll never leave me," and caught her in the bathroom and murdered her. So someone like that, they can't be rehabbed.
I mean, I agree with you on that. I don't. Right. So what about maybe not a mental institute? What about being in jail for the rest of their life?
Is it conducive to put them in solitary confinement for the rest of their life?
Then you think that's almost cruel.
I would rather be dead.
Right. That's almost
what
cruel
I'm saying.
and unusual point.
Throw it in solitaire. No.
So on Watch for Deer on Facebook, I wrote this. I'm currently writing a story and have a serious question for you, dear watchers. I'm not going to give the name of my subject, but I will tell you a few things. She was 18 years old, convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. It was a horrific crime. There's no doubt about what she did and how vile it was. Her childhood was horrible. If you can imagine it had happened to her. She was so neglected that trauma showed up on her brain scans. Gosh. Her mother and father were the worst, including almost all of her family. Her frontal lobe wasn't fully developed yet, as a human's brain doesn't stop developing from childhood until the mid-20s. With this being said, should her sentence be commuted to life instead of death? What are your thoughts? I may use some of your responses in the story, so be aware of that, please. The girl she murdered was 100% innocent of doing anything wrong. She was the same age as her murderer. She just murdered because the other girl was jealous of her. So some of our listeners here, readers, some of our dear listeners, So I'm not going to say names, but Christy said, I think given the circumstances, she shouldn't be put to death. Honestly, a lot could be learned from her situation. That's Christy W.
Okay.
Megan A. says, death, that may be a little extreme. If she's past the age of 18 into adulthood, have they done a psych evaluation on her yet? Or did they do one to begin with? Did she only kill those who mainly abused her? Or was it an innocent bystander?
Yeah.
Erica P. says, anyone who's mentally ill or has trauma that has caused them to have real cognitive issues or psychiatric disorders should not be sentenced to death. They should be remanded to an appropriate mental health facility and treated for however long the court deems necessary. All right, so let's talk about this though, Erica. Like if you're, I felt like I was coming. Yeah,
Erica. Let me just tell you.
But what about what Elisa just said when that girl in the mental hospital killed that other girl in the bathroom? At what point, Michelle, and I'm going to say her last name because I love her, Michelle Warden. Death. Why should we have to pay to keep a known killer housed and fed?
Yeah.
Our friend Iris said death, and depending on the crime, maybe a public execution.
Ooh.
This, of course, is due to you saying she did it without a shadow of a doubt. She absolutely did it without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. There's no doubt.
If this would have been just an offhanded one-time incidents where someone snapped, then no, I don't think death was, the death penalty would be warranted. But she has shown that she is not, there's no way to rehabilitate her.
Well, so Like I said, I'm not stating that she's innocent. We know this is not the case, and the fact is she is a very, very dangerous human. She is. However, she has obvious mental illnesses, and as stated earlier, I would just like to ask you, now that you know the story, what do you think? Yeah. What do you think? Because she was 18 years old when it happened. She's going to be put to death in September if things don't change. Should she be put to death?
Like I said, I can't see them being able to rehabilitate her. She's a danger to others. So she's a danger to herself,
so let me ask you this. Who do you think is the cause of her mental illnesses?
Are you ready to feel lighter, more energized, and more in control of your health? At Enlightened Weight Loss and Wellness, they specialize in personalized, science-backed support for men and women's hormones, weight loss, and overall wellness. From GLP-1 weight loss injections to metabolism-boosting vitamin therapies and functional hormone balancing, they create a plan that finally works for you. If you're ready to feel like yourself again, or better, now's the time. Learn more at enlightenedweightandwellness.com or check them out on Facebook at Enlightened Weight Loss and Wellness. Mention code SPOOKY10 for 10% off your first visit.
So, who do you think, Elisa, is
100%
behind Colleen's mental illnesses?
100% it's her mother. Her mother's supposed to love her, protect her, and she started off shitty by drinking and doing the things that she did.
Right. And
her
father
for
and
sure.
Her mother's boyfriend.
But also, it's still on her mother because she was in her mother's protection.
Yeah.
When all of those people abused her.
I mean, that's true. I mean, that's still, I give it, her dad also. Like, her dad, he needs to take just as much as the fault.
Oh, absolutely.
Do we know, like, we can't say whether Christa would have done this or not if she hadn't had brain damage.
Right.
So, I've lost my place here. Okay. So, why are they not holding her mom and dad responsible? Why are they not? They may not have held the box cutter, but they damaged her brain.
Oh, for sure.
Her mom may not have picked up the rock and bashed Colleen's brains in, but yet she picked up a bottle of whiskey and damaged Christa's brain in utero. Mm-hmm. Her dad, Emil Pike, may not have stabbed Colleen 300 times, but he whipped Christa across the back with a leather belt 5 and 6 times a day.
Yeah.
So my question to you and everybody else, should she get the death penalty, or should she live out her life in a mental institution or jail?
Again, it's such a fine line because, yeah, it's very possible that had she been taken care of in utero, had she been born to a family who loved and nurtured her, she may have never done it.
I think they're her parents. I think they hold some responsibility, and I'm sick to death of these kids, and I mean, at 18, you're an adult, but I mean, even the younger kids coming in and doing this stuff, like bringing a gun to school or shooting somebody, or that 5-year-old who shot his teacher. I'm so sick of all of this crap happening, and then these parents aren't held responsible.
There's zero accountability.
When they should be held responsible. Yeah. They damaged Christa.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like I'm taking up for her, and I'm really not. I believe 100% she should be in the jail for the rest of her life. I believe that. She should.
You're just more or less debating the death penalty.
But why aren't her parents held responsible? Why aren't they responsible for these kids? And killing Christa is not going to bring Colleen back. No. It will give Colleen's mother, May, the satisfaction of justice being served for her daughter.
Yeah.
Where was Christa's justice when she was a child being beat, raped, and scarred for life?
And told people about it.
And told people about it.
Why are those people not held accountable?
And CPS, whenever that one guy, the fourth boyfriend or whatever, punched her in the nose, and now the boyfriend can't be alone with Christa. Well, who gives a damn, because her mother's just as friggin' bad. Like, why? I mean, CPS needs to be held responsible some too. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And unless something changes, Christa will be put to death in September. And again, the youngest woman in U.S. history to be sentenced to death. And yet another child from the Appalachian Mountains that was failed by her family, the CPS,
and the system,
the authorities, and the adults that crossed her path.
Yeah.
Like, she was failed every way
imaginable.
And what happened was she ended up murdering Colleen, who is 100% innocent in this. Innocent in this. And May doesn't have all of her daughter back yet. And can't bury her.
Bizarre to me.
She's cremated. She has her ashes, but she can't bury her yet because she's not all together.
She's not whole.
No, because she's not whole. So I think, as of right now, and there is some, I mean, you really need to go see Christa and the way she acts and stuff, because it really is going to make you hate her. It's going to make you hate her.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know how I feel. I really don't know how I feel. I mean, she 100% did it, but I don't know. Her brain, actually, on the MRI scan was different because of all the abuse.
The abuse
Her
and
brain
trauma.
looked different.
Yeah.
Her brain looked... I actually don't know if she was evil or not, or if she is a product
of evil.
A product of evil.
Yeah.
But also at a certain point, I don't know. Again, I always say this. I'm always like, I don't know. But
it sounds like to me, I mean, just her going through from the get-go, she was abused, she was neglected. I mean, she didn't have a fighting chance.
Right.
You know, at all. Now, if you had a scenario where, we'll say me for an example, I had a great childhood. My parents took care of me. You know, I've lived a long life. If something happened and I got jealous over my guy talking to another girl and I flipped out and I stabbed her and killed her, then what happened? You know what I mean? There was no indication of anything that could have happened.
Right, but snapping and doing what Christa did is different. She took stuff with her. Like, it was planned. Well, let's talk about this Shadella. The other one in there. Todrell, Christa, Shadella, who was 19 years old, she went. She got, I think, 6 years probation. That's all she got.
And here's the wild thing.
I couldn't find anything else on her. I'm sure that she's somewhere.
Well, the reason she probably got that is, like you said, that she informed. You know, she was like, "Oh, I'm covering my ass. I'm gonna tell you everything went down. I was there. I watched it. I'm covering my ass."
And Todrell, he's up for probation again, which I hope he doesn't get it. I feel like he'll stay in jail the rest of his life. He should. He carved a pentagram in her chest.
And if that was your friend, you think I'd let somebody stand over you and carve a pentagram in your chest?
Yeah. Well,
no.
Speaking of that, I asked him also on this. Hold on, let me go find it. 1 second, please. I have to pull it back up here. And then say something, Elisa. So we don't have dead air.
Oh, so we don't have dead air?
Yeah.
It's a gray line because you don't, like I said, if she was in prison, she was trying to harm them there. She isn't able to be rehabilitated. You could put her in a mental institution, but then you run the risk of someone coming in, doing their job, and getting murdered. What do? Do you throw her in solitary confinement? Do you sedate her for the rest of your life? I wouldn't want that if I was in that capacity.
Okay, so I asked him, again, her best friend at the time, she's not been in contact with her as far as I know. I said, can you tell me more about the occult stuff? I've looked, and I can't really find a lot about that, but it seems to be a huge part of this. Also, if you would rather answer in like a recording instead of typing, please feel free to do so. She said, as far as the occult stuff goes, I was 16, completely oblivious to anything that did not involve me personally. Normal 16-year-old stuff. When Christa and... she says Tadao. Christa and Tadao. Oh, she says that's what they called Todrell. Tadao. Were doing their occult thing. I was never present. It was never talked about or referenced. I mean, I remember telling Christa about the church I attended in North Carolina and etc., but nothing was ever said. They never involved me in any way of that. Maybe it was because we were friends and she knew that wasn't my belief. I don't know. When I gave my deposition, the agents asked me about them being Satanists, and I was like, no, you must be mistaken. Christa isn't a Satanist. I was in shock because I had no clue.
She had no idea.
So Okay, but just like that, if she's hiding it, doesn't she know that's wrong?
She's
also?
aware. Yeah. Well, that is a sign of a sociopath, because there's psychopath and there's sociopath. Mm-hmm. One does it not knowing, the other does it knowing exactly what they're doing.
I don't know.
But
so now that you've listened to this, go back to the comment on Facebook or message us and let us know. Has your thoughts changed on it? Most people on there, the majority of all the comments, and I did not read them all, most people think that if she was suffering from brain damage and actually had a mental diagnosis, she also had disassociation.
Yeah.
Where, like, she actually said in one of the interviews, I think on TV, or maybe it was something that I read in the transcripts for the court documents, that it was like she knew she was hitting her, but she wasn't hitting her. Like, she was above her. Like, she wasn't in her body.
She was out-of-body experience.
And she was diagnosed with disassociation. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, that's my story.
That was a good one. I'd never heard of that one.
Yeah. Beckley, West Virginia.
Fascinating.
And then down to Knoxville.
Fascinating.
Yep. Wrap us up.
All right. Well, you guys know what to do. Go and hit the follow button. Go follow us on Spotify at Watch for Dear Podcast. Be sure to give us a rating if you love us. Go email us on our Gmail at watchfordearpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to check out the Facebook page. We do a lot of interacting over there, more so than TikTok or any of the other platforms. So make sure you are following our Facebook page. And y'all be safe and watch for deer.